The street cleaning truck came by 3 times within its 3-hour window, and I have to say the street is pretty clean.
I had my bra inside out for an entire day. It's been that kind of week.
You know what isn't fun? Mattress shopping.
No way. The day I started a new job with a long-ass commute, gas prices went up. Timing, you a biatch.
You are a biatch and have such a good day. Hello, world, and welcome to Have Such a Good Day.
Yo, yo.
The show that wants you to do just
and
that.
We're already way ahead of you. We got a little bottle of vino, and we're sitting on my patio for probably one of the last times.
Yeah.
Either the last time or the second to the last time. We'll see. But we're way ahead of you, so you better catch up here.
Right. Catch up, world. But thanks for joining us, and this is the show that wants you to have such a good day.
By unpacking the absurdity of adult life and daily existence, I mean, it can be a little crazy out there sometimes, and, sometimes we just need a little uplifting, podcast.
It's true. So Heather, she alluded to this, but she is in the middle of packing up her life to move to a new apartment. And
again,
as anybody knows, that is just, that sucks.
Yeah, it's just, it's weird too,
it's just very stressful. And even if you've got your shit together, it's a lot.
Your nails get all broken and screwed up, and you're using the tape, and you have to carry boxes, and your back hurts. And I did it 6 months ago, so it's it's so fresh in my mind already, but I'm doing it again. And I'm really actually grateful that I kept all those boxes. So,
well, good for you.
I will get through, Sarah, because I am a champion.
You are a champion, and I know you will, and it's going to be great, and the next phase of your life is going to be great as well. But I feel for you, because I know how moving sucks.
It does.
It just sucks.
It's just, and I'm glad I've hired movers, but I still have to do all the pre-boxing and everything.
Of course,
And there's still a lot of heavy lifting. I mean, I have to be really organized, because some of my stuff's going in storage and some of my stuff is going to where I'm living. So I have to be strategic, put that in the back of the truck, this in the front of the truck. I have to really be organized. But anyway, enough about that. It's boring. Moving talk is just boring.
You know what isn't boring?
What's not boring?
Bonus topic.
No,
for anybody who is a $5 and
exciting.
up bala in our Patreon. What can we look forward to later in the show?
We're going to talk about, I know this sounds you probably know already enough about us, but we're going to whittle down our top 5 favorite things ever in life.
Yes. And that's
kind of a game. Is it a game?
I don't know if it's a game. Okay, let's call it a game.
Are we going to go back and forth, or are we going to do
we can.
Okay,
we can.
That could be fun.
But I just feel like it's fun for me to be there are lots of things that I love in life.
Yeah, it's hard to whittle it down.
What are the top 5 things?
Yeah. And so we're talking about it can be anything from something really broad to something really specific, right? It can pretty much be anything under the sun.
Yeah.
It could be the sun itself.
Right. I would not call so now that the sun is out, because we're not going to talk about it later, but it would be the sort of thing where I might look at the sun at a certain time of day, and it kind of hit me at a certain time and feel really good
or really bad.
Well, no, not really bad, Heather, because it's the top 5 things that I love forever.
Yeah. But next time we'll do the top 5 things we hate.
Yes, we will.
We definitely should do that, actually, because
they're not mutually exclusive, weirdly enough.
So that's our bonus topic coming up later in the show. So please stay tuned.
Please do.
Get comfy in your chair or your couch or however you're listening. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you're on a jog. I guess
Maybe
you could
be
be
in a rocking
you could be
chair.
doing anything.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to be sitting
I've been
kind
of thinking about getting a rocking chair.
I just sold a rocking chair. Well, I gave it away for free.
Okay, well,
you saw that
that's
woman in my front
very
yard.
annoying that it was not given to
well,
me.
it was really weathered, and it was kind of like a child size. And so,
I see.
but you're pretty tiny.
Yeah,
I could have given it to you.
Lady.
Damn it. Well, I'll give you my umbrella.
Well, that's all right.
I'll give you some stuff.
It's not the whole rocking chair at airports is like now a thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, certain airports. Yeah, it's a thing.
No, it's very soothing. I love a good rocking chair.
It is designed to...
I don't think it would be in my top 5, but I do love a good rocking chair.
Top 10, maybe.
So how's your week been, Sarah?
Oh, man. So it's been good. So over the last week and change, 10 days, actually, I was up north visiting my mom, visiting some friends. I'm from that area originally, and it was really, really nice. And I knew that I was going to be gone long enough, and I had my dog with me, so it's like I was definitely going to take a road trip. Great. You know, the road trip on the way up was sort of, I have to say, like, because a couple hours into it, there was an earthquake in LA.
And did you feel it on the road?
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't. But I was listening to NPR,
okay.
You know, and so I kind of got like this anxious thing. Like, is everything okay? Like, oh my God, should I just like turn around and like go home? Like,
how far were you?
I was 3 hours into the drive. Like I was far.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have felt it. Nothing would have happened to me specifically. But like, you know, you just kind of get that like, gosh, I'm about to be away from home for a while, and that this thing happened, and what if something worse happens? Is my cat okay? Because my cat was back at the home. Anyway, so everything worked out. You know, got up to where I was going, had a really, really relaxing time while I was there. But last Sunday, had to come back, and like, I'm telling you, like, it was like I white knuckled it when I was leaving. I was like, I never want to leave. I don't want to do this 9-hour drive. Like, fuck.
Oh, it was 9 hours?
Well, I mean, it's a 7-hour drive if you don't have traffic.
Sure.
But there's always traffic.
Always these days.
And, you know, with Otis and I, like, you know, Otis is in the back seat and whatever, but like, it's not the same as having somebody who's on the trip with you that you can talk to.
Oh, yeah.
And so I had all my podcasts lined up. Like, you know, I was ready to go.
Yeah.
Anyway, so and part of the trip that I do to like just like break it up is like I am just pounding kombucha and whatever. So I'm like, you know, I'm hydrating, but like every 2 hours, if not less, I have to stop and pee.
Oh yeah,
that's just what you have to do.
Such a pain in the butt.
Such a pain in the butt, and you're like stopping at like these like gross places, you know. So at one point, halfway through the day, and it was like 105. I mean, it was hot in the valley.
Oh yeah.
And so we, you know, Otis and I stop at a rest stop, and you know, I go in, and they're just like are like weirdly like 4 people online already, you know. So I'm like, is there like a key for the bathroom? And like he was like, yeah, but you have to wait. Ugh. So I had to like wait to like get the key after these people.
I would have
super
just
weird.
Like, done it on the side of the road or something.
Well, I should have. Anyway, so I finally get the key, and also like the key to these bathrooms, like there's usually like 4 lanyards like hanging off of it, and you're like, this is like the most germaphobe like it's horrible thing. Yeah. So you know, I'm just not, you know, and I'm hating life, but I gotta go. So I go into the bathroom, shut the door, you know, like turn on the light and look around. There's no toilet paper.
Oh man.
So I go back outside, and still there's like a long line of people. So I'm like, and I'm holding this like lanyard like shit ball, like gas station key thing. And I'm like, excuse me, I'm so sorry. There's no toilet paper. And he was like, oh, just get some off of the, just take some off of the, like the toilet paper that they sell.
What?
He was like, just
grab a roll.
Just like get some.
Like buy it?
No.
Or just grab it?
No, he didn't want me to buy it.
Yeah.
He just wanted me to like, just like,
right.
just
That's
like,
cool.
just like just get some. So I was like, well, it's an emergency, so okay, I will go ahead and do that. And it all worked out, and I gave him his lanyard back, and that was the end of that. But imagine working at that gas station.
Oh no,
and all the people that you must see.
Oh yeah.
And like people like me who are like, where's my toilet paper? Where they're like, I don't know, just like take some off the shelf.
You know, I definitely get a lot of empathy for certain places that I go where I'm like, dude, you know, it could be way worse. For example, I shot at a library, public library in Venice, California, your old hometown.
Yeah.
And it was literally a homeless shelter. It was so bizarre. I was
the
like...
one on Ocean Park?
The one on Venice. There's one on Venice.
Oh, okay.
And just down from Abbot Kinney. And it was, I'm not even joking, there were at least 50 homeless people in there. It had a very strong stench of homeless BO. There wasn't even a normal person there. And I kept thinking about the people working there. You know, a lot of people who work at libraries have like a library degree. You know, it's like,
sure,
it's a library science. And I'm sitting there just going, this is insane. Like, these public places have turned into homeless shelters. Anyway, that's crazy. You know, I feel like a road trip that's past 4 to 5 hours is, you know, it gets a little tough. But I have had times where I'm like, I'm not going to wait in those lines, and I'll just go on the side of the desert road. If there's no one around and I can just go next to my car, I almost prefer it, because then you don't have to deal with the bacteria and like these dirty bathrooms. I almost prefer it. I'd rather even just go without toilet paper and go on the side of the road, you know?
I just love the guy being like, hey, y'all, I'm like really busy with my other customers, so like just like go get some. We sell it, just get some. Where I'm like, all right.
Well, you're a very trusting person.
In that moment, Sarah needed to go, so it was what it was.
Well, I'm glad you made it back in one piece.
Oh, well, thank you, Heather. How was your week?
Well, you know, I started this new gig about 3 weeks ago now, I guess. And it was pretty mellow the first few weeks, and then kind of got a little crazy this week because we were shooting in the field, and it's tough being a field producer. Let me just tell you that. It's you got to really brave the elements. There's a lot of, we are a really small crew. We were at the beach one day. I mean, it's like 90 degrees. I'm like not the most dark-skinned person. You have no coverage. You're out there and you're like, you have to lug things back and forth. It's just like,
were you wearing sunscreen?
Of course. But like, it's just when you're like, you're in the middle of like, there's no shade structure. It doesn't even matter if I have sunscreen or a hat on. It's like, you're just getting beaten down. I was actually wearing jeans, which it's a long story. I won't get into it. I wouldn't have worn jeans if I knew we were going to the beach. But anyway, I wanted to mention, so you know how you always hear about Midwestern men? People are always saying that, oh, they're such good eggs. They're made from such good stock, that kind of thing. Well, I've been spending a lot of time with a Midwestern man, and it's so true. It's interesting. I think that the, sort of fun to analyze why they're like this, because I have met many in my life, and they are all the same. There's these fundamental characteristics. Their friendliness. They're always tall. I feel like they're like super eager to,
Heather,
to help out.
You're being crazy right now. This is not true. They're not always tall. They're not always friendly.
In my experience, they have been.
Okay.
But right. And I feel like people talk about, like, I feel like it's sort of this like it's a generalization.
Yeah,
it's a generalization. They like love their moms. They're very like, they don't tell a lie. Like they're just like they're good-natured people is all I'm saying. They're often very frugal. But I wanted to hear from you guys. I know some of you, our listeners, are from the Midwest, and I want to know if you guys have any thoughts on this. If you feel like you're very different than people from like the West Coast versus the East Coast, because I have known a lot of people from both, and I do find there's these sort of fundamental characteristics that they have. So please email us at hi@havesuchagoodday.com, and that's all I'll say about that.
Oh boy. Oh, Heather. Goodness gracious. I was married to a man from the Midwest.
You were?
And I don't know that I would say that he has a lot of the characteristics that you just laid out. Not that they don't exist, but I think.
What part of, where was he from? What state?
Chicago.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He was from he's from Illinois, but he was from the suburbs of Chicago.
Yeah.
And lots of people would say, well, Chicagoland is not really, the Midwest, but it is.
It definitely is.
It
is a generalization. 100%.
I hate to generalize anybody.
Yeah.
Like, do you love your mother? Well, you might be from anywhere in the whole world.
This is true.
Yeah.
So what makes a house a home, Sarah?
Oh man. So in this vein, this is actually a good little segue. So talking to a friend of mine, a guy friend of mine, who he's from Atlanta and he lives in LA now, and I live in LA, as we all do. And but it kind of comes up a lot. He has kids. One of his kids lives back in Atlanta with his child's mother. And so, there's a lot of back and forth, and he talks about the South being, a part of like his upbringing and what actually still is part of his disposition.
Yeah.
And you're never going to get rid of it, even though he's living in LA, living life, right? And like the guy's doing good, got a lot of money, the whole thing. But he's like, I'm not an LA guy.
Yeah.
I'm a Southern guy. So it's a little bit of the same thing.
Totally. Yeah, like what entails a Southern guy? Like what are the
well, and exactly, because I'm like, I don't know, I'm from California, like I kind of get what that means. Yeah. But it's like there's something about like there is like the Midwestern or the Southern kind of just consistency of a person that I know I don't have.
Yeah.
But I kind of get it, and I think it's really cool, and it's hard for me to put it into words. Maybe the same way that it would be hard for somebody from the Midwest to put it into words.
Yeah, totally.
Anyway, so he and I were talking, and he actually, being from Atlanta, it's kind of weird. Like he now lives in LA and is vegan. Doesn't drink and has sort of this whole thing going on, but we were having a conversation about what what makes a home, and he said to me, and this is why this sort of spurred this conversation. He was like, Sarah, you're the best, but you don't seem like a maternal person who would like hold down a home. And I was like, excuse you, what does that mean? What, like I was like immediately like,
sure,
should I
defensive,
be offended?
Yeah,
like what? And he was like, no, I'm just saying, like, I just don't see you like being back in Atlanta, with like 3 kids running around making lunch and
sure.
like holding down the barbecue. And I was like, well, that's true, like no one has ever asked me to do that before. I don't have that.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a funny thing where I'm like, it's not that I'm not capable of that, but I honestly don't know what that would feel like.
Yeah, well, your life didn't go in that direction, and it's apples and oranges, and it's like that's okay. I mean, I agree. Like I sometimes think of that too. I'm like, I think that I would have been a good, mother and would have kept a good home and whatever. I mean, I guess we're animal mothers. It's a bit different. But no, I mean, it's funny. It's like, there's just, you would have been, and you would have stepped up to the plate if that's what had happened, but it didn't. So
it was the sort of making a house a home. I kind of thought about this because my initial reaction to him was like, I'm offended. You don't think I'd be good at this. But I'm like, but I don't even know if I would be.
Yeah.
Because that's not my life. And it's okay.
Yeah.
And what does make a house a home?
Yeah. And there's a lot of other, not just kids. Kids.
Right.
You don't have to have kids to make a house a home.
No.
At all.
No. I think it's kind of funny stuff. It's like, I mean, I have a dog and a cat. They are, they run my life. There's lots of things that I think that they they bring to the quality of my life where I'm never really alone.
Yeah.
But no, I don't have kids, but I'm also, I like to make my food. I like to have, Heather or someone else over and, show them a good time type thing. It's like that the house being a home, I think, has changed so much over the years.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think that for me, if anyone were to ask me what I thought, what made a house a home, I mean, it's decorated to your liking. It's cozy. Whatever you're looking for in a home. Do you look for coziness? Do you look for sunlight? Do you look for, what do you look for in a home? I think that's really the question. And for me, like if I surround myself with pretty things that I like, that make me happy, that bring me joy, and make me feel comfortable and at ease and happy. And that's what I find that all my homes have felt like homes because I've surrounded myself with things that I love, and I have felt safe and comfortable in my homes. I mean, sure, I would love to step it up and actually own a home and be able to fix it up to my liking. I have this fantasy about getting like somewhat of a fixer-upper and like changing, getting cool like doorknobs and like, changing everything myself, like putting dimmers in and painting and doing everything myself, and like really like figuring out what color scheme and actually doing the interior design. That to me makes a house a home, is when you make it yours.
Yeah.
And that's what matters. Whether it's a home for someone else, like it's something that makes you feel like you're at home. I think that's really the answer in a somewhat general.
Well, that's very well put, Heather.
Well, thank you very much. I occasionally surprise you.
Yeah, no, and yeah, I don't know. It's something that I think about a lot.
Me too. And I think a lot about, I keep moving and I keep having these rentals, and I have fantasies. I have very visual fantasies about having my own place that I can actually fix up and do things to. Like here, there's things that I kind of wanted to like repaint, like the wood, because it's it got really weathered from the storms this winter.
Yeah.
But I can't. It's not my place, and I want a place that I can make awesome.
Yeah.
That I really have fantasies about that. So one of these days it will happen, and perhaps we'll be living down the street together again.
Oh, here's hoping.
I know. That would be really cool, actually.
Here's hoping. But let's move into the ocean.
Oh, yes. I thought you would like this story.
All right.
So I was just thinking about my friend Asia actually is the one that sent this to me. Asia, shout out to you. She listens regularly. She's a big fan.
Shout out, Asia.
And she lives in Cannes, France. She's over there now.
How hard for you.
I know. She's adapted now. She's been there for over a year. I think it was tough at first. She missed LA, but like now I think she's kind of really enjoying it. But this is such a funny thing. I was like, am I reading this right? So I just feel like these days anything goes. Like any wacky idea you have, look it up, because it's probably been done. You know what I mean? It's like wacky, like, I don't know, the Keanu Con, for example. You're like,
right.
Someone thinks of something and it's out there. It's been done before. Furry fetishes. I don't know, like the wackiest thing you can ever think of. It has been done or thought about. There's not a lot of originality anymore, but I thought this was pretty cool. There is literally a competition in France with 10 competing mermen. And this is literally men who are swimmers, and they wear fins. They wear a full, where your legs are in one sleeve of like kind of like a swimsuit of some kind that puts your legs together, so you can't split your legs. So you're like swimming like a fish.
You're a mermaid.
You are a mermaid, but you're a man. And so these guys, I mean, reading their profiles is so fascinating. So they're all French. I don't know if this exists anywhere else, but I was kind of fascinated by it. So basically the contest consists of 4 parts. It's an aquatic like photo shoot. There's a swimming portion where you have to kind of swim below water for like about 25 meters. There's 2 fashion shows. One is in swimsuits, one is in costume. And I wanted to read one of the profiles from this guy who came in 3rd place. His name is Aurelien. And he discovered mermaiding on YouTube, of all places. And he felt empowered ever since. Because he always kind of had a hard time with his body. And he said that mermaiding is actually a verb, I guess, allows me to become someone else, to get past how people look at me and accept me, myself as I am. When I'm underwater, nobody bothers me anymore, and I can finally be myself. I know, I thought you would like this. Maybe you need to be. Maybe you need to be a mermaid. It allows him to live temporarily in a reality parallel to the human world and forget all of its brutality. And I thought, Sarah's gonna maybe take up swimming.
I am a very bad swimmer.
I'm not a great swimmer either, actually. I mean, I can swim and I can do all the strokes, but I would say out of all the biking, running, like all of those, I'm much more that than I don't like swimming that much. I don't feel super comfortable. I won't drown, but I just don't love swimming.
I'm with you on that. I will stay afloat. I'm not going to drown. But I don't, my breaststroke is bad.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do the, where you
it's hard.
You're still breathing off the side.
Yeah, you're
and
you have to take a breath.
The whole thing. It's funny. So when I was up in Sonoma County, my friends have a variety of children because that's what people do, and a couple the 5-year-olds just straight up jump into the deep end and just
doing it.
Doggy paddle back to the we're I was oh my gosh, is your child about to drown? And they're no, he can swim.
No, and I'm people get their kids in the water pretty young.
When I was 5, I could not swim.
I think nowadays I've noticed that too with my friends. They get swimming lessons when they're babies. They start them early for sure, because I think maybe it's a safety thing. I don't know.
Well, sure.
But yeah, mermen. I would love to meet one of these guys in person and talk a little bit more about the joys of mermaiding. Anyway, I love it. It's so random.
Mermen. Show yourselves. We'd love to meet you. Hi at havesuchagoodday.com. Speaking of loving people, our patrons.
Oh, yes. We love you so much.
Our patrons, patreon.com/havesuchagoodday is a way to find out more about what we're doing on the show, what we've what we've done,
what we're doing, and what we will do.
Yeah, that's right. Our goals and our past.
And our we really only have one goal right now, and that is to do 2 shows a week.
Yes.
We haven't gotten there yet. It's been a year, but these kinds of things take a little bit of time. And we're hoping to foster more of you. So please check out our tiers, and you can join for as little as $1 a month. I wanted to shout out some new subscribers. Noodles just subscribed as a $1 patron. Love that name.
What up, Noodles?
Buchanan edited their pledge from 5 to 10, so they actually popped into Discord last week, or maybe it was earlier this week.
Good to have you.
Alex Erickson also went from $5 to $10, and he was in Discord also.
Woo woo.
So it's really we're growing slowly but surely.
We are, and when we talk about Discord, the idea is that Heather and I want to be in Discord as much as possible, but we also want to foster a community where people are talking to each other. And we have. So the more of you, the better. Yep. It makes us really happy and just really fun to, it's our own little garden party.
What's cool, actually? So sometimes I'm in a meeting, or I'm busy and I can't respond, or maybe I don't have anything to say about a conversation going on. But this week there was a lot going on in there, and there was, but I popped in here and there, but it's kind of cool to see people chatting throughout the day where maybe you're not part of the conversation, but you see them hanging out. And them chatting, and I love that. It's so cool. It's we've brought some people together. It's a small little crew, but we hope to grow it.
Yeah, that is the thing that I love the most as well.
Cool.
Just hey, have such a good day. We have a community. I mean, people are talking to each other.
Who doesn't want to have such a good day? I would like to hear from you if you don't. Email us at hi@havesuchagoodday.com. We need to talk.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, and please still visit our Patreon.
Please.
So let's talk about the idea of social networking, and this is actually an interesting thing that came across my desk over the last week, and that is Instagram de-emphasizing likes. And what I mean by that, what I mean by that is, so let's say that you're putting a lot of effort into your own account, and you really care about, like, do I get 100 likes on something? If I get 40 likes, like, you're sort of figuring out what works for you. Well, what Instagram is testing, and it started this test in Canada and has now expanded the test to a variety of other countries: Australia, Japan, New Zealand, France, to name a few, is so I would still know all of that information about the people that liked my stuff, whether it was a photo or a video, but I no longer see your likes.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And
so what does it say? It just doesn't, it says zero, or it just doesn't say anything?
It just doesn't say it.
Interesting.
And the whole idea is that the company, and this might be posturing a little bit, it's early days, but the company is sort of saying, hey, we understand that if Sarah cares too much about Heather's likes, it may it
could be competitive, or
there's a competition,
feelings are hurt or something like that.
Yeah, like, for whatever reason, it's going to skew the way that she should naturally be on this network.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I kind of was like, my initial reaction was like, what? That's crazy.
Yeah.
But then I was like, I kind of get it.
Yeah, it's actually would change things a lot.
Because you don't. But if I post a picture of my dog Otis and it's a really cute picture and it gets a lot of likes, like, I'm still gonna see all that stuff. Sure. Like, I still get that dopamine rush, right? Or serotonin or whatever it is. But you don't see it.
Yeah.
And you continue to not care so much about, like, what everybody else is getting because you're worried about your own.
I love this stuff because I've been wondering for a while now. Social media has, it hurts people. I feel like it's been more and more, like, people complain about it more and more than they did before. Yeah. And, like, this is maybe potentially, this is what they're thinking about. They're like, well, what would be a solution to get people to not drop off these sites?
Yeah, and to stop caring about, like, did Heather get, like, 100 likes on her photo? Like, I would, like, that would just be stripped out of my my
you wouldn't get jealous or envious or, like, these
it would just
hard
be like
feelings.
It would be like my own stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I care about my own stuff, but I'm no longer in competition with you because I don't have that data anymore.
Very interesting. So this is something that they're seriously considering implementing?
Oh, it's already,
so in Canada right now, and Australia.
Canada, Australia, New Zealand, France, Japan.
How is that going for people? I wonder, I would love to read some, like, case studies, how people feel about it.
Well, so the study started in Canada a couple of months ago, and with mixed results, but the company certainly said, yeah, well, we want to roll this out to more people. Like, I think that, and let's remember that Instagram is owned by Facebook. And Facebook has a bit of an issue with, like,
lots of things.
Right, with lots of things, but the public kind of, there is an issue with the company being a company that is for the good of the people.
Yeah,
and maybe many people say that it is not. Instagram is an offshoot of it, but it's all one company and has been for quite some time. So, I don't know. These sorts of tests are very interesting to me.
Super interesting. I'm actually sort of wondering, too, because with the job that I'm doing right now, there's an aspect of, like, looking for people who have a decent following. There's the whole influencer thing. It's like people are looking for that. There's talent agents that are looking for, like, the numbers. Go on Twitter. How many followers do they have? I mean, it was
well, and I think that this will influence that as well.
Oh, 100%. They'd have to. I think it's actually kind of cool because then if a talent agent's really interested in somebody and they can't see how many followers, they're going to have to ask. It's like, it's private information. Yeah. They have to, follow through, talk to their agents or whatever. And I don't know. I like it. I would like to see the landscape change. And I think this is such a fundamental change that I think it could change things for the better. I don't have issues with seeing likes on I don't feel the jealousy or whatever. It's more for me when I'm slogging at work and people are on vacation. That's always kind of a tough thing, and that's like very common Instagram gripe, Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean the number of likes I'm never I don't get like envious of, but I do think that could settle people down a little bit. It could just be like that's private information, and it evens the playing field. It makes people feel like they're on par with everybody else, and instead of like, exactly, man, I want 100 likes, and I think that could be a really good thing. I'm gonna follow this story because this fascinates me too.
Yeah, and again, it doesn't diminish what if you have a photo or a video or something on Instagram that gets some traction, mm-hmm. like you should still feel great about that.
Sure,
that's awesome. But you no longer know. Mm-hmm. And again, this is, in the future, because mm-hmm. this test is only rolled out to several markets in the entire world, but it doesn't compete with anybody else. Mm-hmm. It's only you. You're competing with yourself.
Yeah.
Which is where they go.
Oh, yeah, totally. It's funny. Even in sports, like I did so many team sports, I was always competing with myself. I never cared about winning, frankly. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but I remember not ever knowing the score of my soccer games, but I was like, if I had a good game, I was happy.
Yeah.
If I played a good game and it was a good synergy with the team.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that a lot of people, I mean, I know that for me, it's more of a competition with myself than other people. But anyway, I know that maybe I talk too much about horror movies, but I wanted to talk about this because I think it's fascinating. I just saw that movie Midsommar, which is Ari Aster. He's an independent filmmaker. He did Hereditary, which probably a lot of you have seen. I've talked to a lot of people in Discord about this. We've got some horror fans out there, and I'm pretty happy about that because I like talking about horror, and I can't talk about horror with Sarah really. But it's so interesting. Like, there's been this sort of like, obviously horror movies have always been pretty popular for one reason or another. But like, it's always sort of been rooted in like scaring kids, like jump scares, scary clowns, evil dolls, teens driving to a camp in the middle of the night and like scary forest, like there's obviously this is kind of a generalization. There's all kinds of horror movies out there, but I'm saying like back in the day when I was a kid, a lot of the movies were about that. Well, right now there is a sort of a golden age of like grown-up horror going on right now, and this is according to the New York Times. But it really is true, and a lot of these adult-focused movies are by independent filmmakers, like people with these visions or these stories, and a lot of the stories are true from their own lives. Yeah. They're not studio movies. These are like independent filmmakers. They're more about family and adult based fears. And I thought this was perfect for our show because we talk a lot about being an adult and things we're afraid of and sort of like dealing with adulting. But horror is very celebrated right now. It's definitely like, and it always kind of has, just to some extent, whatever is happening with politics. Usually there's, like art imitates life imitates art, that whole thing. But a lot of the movies that have been really popular in the last like year or two have been about grief, have been about family death. For example, like Hereditary, I mentioned Ari Aster, the son sees his tragedy, and instead of like calling the police, he like goes to sleep and he's like silent about it, just like not dealing with the grief. Quiet Place is another example of death in the family. Midsommar had a huge family death, and I'm sorry if I'm spoiling. Get Out, it was all about the memory of the mother's death because he was going to go to the that was what was his weakness. The Babadook, haunted by a husband's death, The Witch, these, you know, it just goes on and on and on. But it's interesting to me because it's, you know, about adult anxieties instead of kid stuff, instead of jump scares. It's like they're stripping out the audio, and it's much more about like racism, economic worries, you know, like family dysfunction, like grief, unhinged parents, repressed emotions. I just think it's fascinating. I obviously love horror movies, but I also love like pop culture movements. You know, why are people, it's kind of like the Instagram thing. Like when culture changes things, like it is evolving things, you know, this is what people want to watch. It's much more geared for adults. And then it made me think about all the terrifying parental figures in horror movies from when I was a kid. And I'm sure that you guys, I'm sure that some of these are going to come to the top of your head, and I would love to hear from you. Hi at havesuchagoodday.com. You know who you are. There's some of you who I talk a lot about horror movies on Patreon. So I want to hear from you. But Jason's mom, Pamela Voorhees, was one of the scariest that I could even remember. Carrie's mom, obviously, I mean, she was a batshit crazy. Mm-hmm. Norma Bates from Psycho. Jack Torrance, obviously, from The Shining, and The Stepfather. I don't know if you guys ever saw that. It was kind of a B horror. It really scared me, though. I was genuinely scared. And The Witch. Those are kind of my top ones that kind of came off the top of my head. And I want to hear who you think are the scariest parent figures in horror movies. Please email me at hi@havesuchagoodday.com.
Oh,
thank
Heather.
you for listening. I know I'm obsessed.
No, it's good. It's really good.
It really fills me with joy.
I did not remember that Mrs. Voorhees' name was Pamela.
I know. I know weird things, but I'm telling you, here's the thing. I never really watched. Jason doesn't scare me. Jason, the Mask, he doesn't scare me. The mom scares me, and that's why the original Friday the 13th was, I think, the scariest, because it was the mom. That actress was really good. Yeah. Like really believable. I screamed. I ran out of the room screaming. I was too young to see it. I shouldn't have seen it. I don't think my parents were around, speaking of, but yeah.
Oh man, I remember at the end when she was like, "What happened to the little boy?" Mm-hmm. Then he's still there because he lived in the lake.
Yep, the boy who lived in the
Crystal Lake.
Oh, so scary.
Yeah,
it was awful.
Like just like the back of the hairs on your
neck.
Oh
yeah, totally. And to this day, she does that to me, because they do the close-ups and she's like, Jason, you know, she's like talking to him. She's so crazy, and they have these close-ups on her face, and so scary. I don't know why. I really think it's so interesting to me. I can't totally wrap my head around why I love it so much.
I also and this was not the first movie. It was probably like the second or third. But somebody was murdered while eating a banana. and it was sort of like, it was kind of, you know, because it's like the kind of like the murder got campy, right? Yeah, you know, like the whole thing was campy, like haha, you know, you're at camp and everything, but it was campy in the sense that, you know, how people died.
Sure.
And there was a girl who was eating a banana, and you know, and like she died while eating the banana, and it didn't end well for her. But it was like, I mean, that was like, that was part of that whole. I don't know. I mean, there were so many of those movies.
Oh yeah, no, I've been rewatching a lot of these old, kind of like classic. Like there's some of these Cronenberg movies that are fast, like really, really good films. Like seriously, like I'm trying to go through the Criterion collection, but yeah, I remember when she goes, she's you know, sort of talking in his voice. She's like, "Kill her, mommy, kill her." Like she's like basically talking for him, you know, and just, oh man, that is probably one of the scariest.
Well, and he like lived in the in the like
he did
like how do you breathe?
He had his hockey mask. I don't know.
I don't know. Like, there's a lot of questions.
But grown-up horror, I'm into it.
Physics related, I'm like, there are just a lot of questions I have about how Jason was like still able to live.
There's always those questions with horror movies. It's like, really? Come on. It's so because they're often far-fetched, but there are some that I am convinced that were never filmed. Because like for me, when I get peace from like, oh, that didn't happen, like you can picture a director in the director's chair and like a jib and like all this different gear, and you're like, oh, I'm cool. Like it's a movie.
Yeah.
They're rolling film. But there are some movies from like the 70s that don't feel like they were ever shot. They were just like you found footage, you know, because it's like so realistic, and they're like non-actors, and so it's a lot of the B horrors because they're kind of have a rawness to them. Anyway, I could talk about this till the cows come home, but I won't. I wanted to mention a couple sweet little notes that we got from some of our patrons. Long Welsh is one of our Discord VIPs.
What up, Long Welsh?
He's cool. He's I think I've mentioned him before. He lives in Wales, but he said he's really enjoying the 17-inch MacBook Pro that Sarah Lane is rocking on the show. Shame that they never made at least one Retina model before discontinuing it. So maybe you can explain to everybody why you're using this computer.
I'm using it because I have to. It is not a Retina model, and Long Welsh, you are 100% right about that. But you know, sometimes you gotta cobble together your tech in order to make the show go on.
That's a good answer. So you want to Jude Sturman? He commented on a post. He said, "Can we vote to learn why Heather doesn't have a microwave?" Or did I hear that incorrectly? LOL. It's funny. I don't remember saying that, but I probably did.
You probably did.
I haven't.
And
had
you don't have a microwave.
No, I haven't had one for. I can't remember the last time. Honestly,
have you ever had one?
I mean, yeah. But I'm telling you, like my San Francisco place, my Fulton Street. I didn't have a microwave in there either. I can't remember the last time I had one. And here's the thing. There's occasionally when I want to heat up some leftovers, it's a little annoying because I have to like cook it on the stove. But I don't like the way microwaves make the food kind of, it's like a physics thing. It's like it kind of changes the texture of the food. So I've never really been a fan of microwaves, and you can get around not using them. Like you can easily put soup in a saucepan.
Yeah.
Like most of the time I'm fine. But if I have to heat up like a burrito, that's kind of a bummer because I have to put it in the oven. There are times when it is a bummer not having one, but I get it. We're a lot of us are used to that.
Heather's like, you can live without a microwave.
You can do it.
However, I'm like, I cannot.
I know. I remember when you bought yours, you bought it pretty quickly when you moved in. And I get it. What do you nuke?
I have to have a microwave.
What do you nuke?
Well, a popcorn, which I eat somewhat regularly.
Yeah.
Also, like, okay, so the other night I got some ramen. You know, I was just like in a ramen mood. So I got it, you know, delivered with Uber Eats, but I didn't finish it. And in the morning, it kind of congeals.
Yeah.
Like you gotta microwave it.
Yeah.
So that like it becomes hot and like a soup thing again. I could do that on the stove.
You could.
I could.
Yeah.
But the microwave,
it's much quicker.
Took 10 seconds.
Totally.
Yeah.
No, I get it. And I understand why you guys have microwaves. It's okay. I forgive you. And finally, hello ladies. Have you seen this Instagram about hiking cat and dog? And Sarah, I would be shocked if you didn't follow these guys, Henry and Baloo. Henry, the Colorado dog. And he says he's a closet, have such a good day listener. Dinas is his name. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit. He's a closet. So does that mean he doesn't want to tell anybody that he listens? That he's embarrassed?
He's a dog.
No. The person who wrote this said that he's a closet, have such a good day listener.
I think he was saying that his dog was.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe you can let us know. Hi at havessuchagoodday.com. But anyway.
Or as a human, if you're like, hey,
he's closeted.
I don't want anyone to know.
Yeah, like maybe he's like maybe a little like embarrassed or whatever. Yeah. But Henry the Colorado dog, if you guys do not follow, it is the cutest thing in the world. I am pretty sure he's the cutest thing in the world. It's basically this adorable dog and this adorable Siamese cat, or it looks like kind of like a Siamese-y Burmese cat. And they're always together. They're buddies, and they like sit on each other and like do these things. You got to check it out. It's so funny. Henry the Colorado Dog on Instagram. So thank you so much for writing and reminding me, because I do love that Instagram, and I had kind of forgotten about it.
Yes,
so.
Thank you to everybody who has emailed us, hi@havesuchagooddday.com.
We love it.
Keep them coming.
It really makes us have such a good week. I love it.
It really does. So Heather, I think we're going to kind of wrap this up.
Yeah, it's getting dark out here.
Yeah, it is getting dark and scary. Jason Voorhees will be out in force soon enough.
But we got the oat to protect us.
Well, so. I'd love to say that Otis would protect you, but
yeah, maybe
honestly,
he'd probably run away.
No, he's the scariest cat of all the cats.
$5 ballas. Please stick around. We've got bonus topic coming up in a sec.
We do, and it's Heather and I's 5 favorite things.
Yeah, it's going to be super fun, so stay tuned. Wherever you are and whenever you are, we hope you have such a good day. I'm Heather.
And I am Sarah. See you next week.
Bye.